Welcome, everybody, and thank you for taking out 45 minutes of your valuable time. The topic today is, as you know, it's about enabling AI in Power BI with CoPilot, and I will do the presentation today. We will have a very short intro to Random Forest. Then I will talk a little bit about what is CoPilot and how do we get started with it. And then there's time for the demo, and which will take up most of the time, and it will be it's of course rehearsed, but there'll also be time to do stuff on the fly. So it's a real life demo, and we end the session with a few highlights, and if time we have a Q&A. You're welcome to write in the chat, and then we can see if we can answer during this session, or maybe we can take it up afterwards. I come from Random Forest. We are a consultant company. It's been around in a little more than 10 years. Founded in Sweden, Stockholm. We are around 70 consultants with offices around Sweden and also in Denmark, in Aarhus. And the reason it's in Aarhus is, as you can see on this map, Copenhagen is not available. So our main focus areas are helping companies getting value out of data. We do traditional business intelligence, where you look at historic data and see how can we help companies building dashboards and getting insights around the business. We also help doing advanced analysis, as we call it, which is, for instance, machine learning, could be churn analysis, seeing patterns in behavior, stuff like that. And our end, you could say, our third area is what we call data management, which is about how do we collect data, how do we store data, how do we use data. In the old days, that was around building data warehouses, but we see it more as, you could say, building data platforms and how to get value from that. We work very much as one big company, try not to be in silos. So, for instance, since we are the newest office here in Denmark, we don't, of course, not all the expertises. So we can get some help from our Swedish friends, and vice versa. CoPilot. I think I'll start with a slide about what, why, and how. Maybe some of you knows or heard about CoPilot. It is something that has been released in many Microsoft applications. I don't know if it's all of them, but I think it's close. The general idea is that you can use natural language to get some help to get to your end goal. So you can, instead of you have to learn how to understand every features and functions in the graphical user interface, or you need to learn programming languages and so on. It helps you free up time and start analyzing instead. So you could say in general, when it comes to Power BI, there is a free part, a CoPilot that you could all start using. And then there is a part that demands a paid capacity, namely what is called an F64 capacity, or it could also be a P1 capacity. And that is needed, and some parts of the AI demands quite a lot of compute. The free part is happening in Power BI desktop, and that is around getting suggestions for DAX measures. The paid part has to do with, and that is probably why you were here, is about building reports based on natural language queries, and also how to get insights based on natural language queries. So I will start the demo. Log on. So the demo, I have decided to use two kinds of reports, you could say, or topics. One is a log file, which is actually real data from a log file, but been disguised what it is, of course. So I guess we can use that log file to see what is the capabilities of CoPilot, what can it do with it, and also how can we maybe help CoPilot become even better at helping us. And then on the other hand, I have a traditional Microsoft case called AdventureWorks. Maybe some of you heard about it or seen it if you've been doing Power BI training or at some point. AdventureWorks is a demo that is about a bicycle company in San Francisco. So it's about, you have a sales table, you have some dimensional data being products, customers, and so on, geography, and a lot of stuff. So the SimCow log file, that's just one log file. I have enhanced the log file a little bit by adding a few columns to make it easier for CoPilot to give them some insights. And AdventureWorks is like a more or less a full star scheme with fact tables and dimensional data. So I think we can start with the SimCow log file. So this log file is from a system that has data around farms and cows and stuff. So I haven't done any reports. So when I open the reports in this workspace, it's just a blank page. I have up here, I have CoPilot.
Lars, we only see like the PowerPoint.
Sorry.
So
okay, it's a good thing you were here, Gustav.
Yeah.
I hope I am
now
sharing now a blank file. Cool. So no reports in here. This is the. I think I'll just go one step back and show you the. That will make more sense what I'm talking about. So we have here the log file from this farming system, you could say. And up here we have AdventureWorks, which we will go into in a short while. But first I will open the log file. I don't have any reports. So since I have CoPilot, there are actually two places on this screen where you have CoPilot. One is this one. I can click on it. But since I don't have any reports, it doesn't really make sense now. Because this part of CoPilot is only actually looking at your report. So it doesn't look at your semantic model, but it looks at whatever you have chosen to represent in the report. The other way to use CoPilot is if you edit the model, there's another CoPilot button here, and this actually enables you to create a report. So you can go two ways. You can through natural language, you can start with create a page that shows whatever we want, or you could also just have it suggest content for this report. So let's try and do that. I can just shortly show you what kind of data we have here. It's a log file that I have some durations, which is measured in milliseconds, and I have some events. I have enriched this data with months and hours because I only had a date time stamp. So I'm trying to help AI a little bit. So if I want to see stuff going on per day and so on, you need these columns. So one of the limitations so far with CoPilot is that if you, let's say, for instance, you have a date time column, implicitly in that column you have a lot of information, but CoPilot can't use that information. You have to explicitly do a column for all the dimensions you want to use. So if you want to do something with dates, you can't use a date time column. You need to extract a date column. And if you want to do something with months, you need to add a month column. It can't use the date time, or it can't use a date column. So it's still, you still have to help it a little bit. So that's what I've tried to do here. Let's see what happens if I press this suggest content for this report. And a little bit of delay. So it comes up with 4 suggestions: a user activity analysis, a report usage statistics, a peak usage times, and monthly usage trends. So as you can see here, this actually sounds like something you could do with a log file. So it has actually some kind of understanding of what is this table that I'm doing. We can try to take one of them to do the peak usage times and see what happens. So now it's building a report page, so to say, because you have to do this for each page. It's not building like a big report with 20 pages. And we have to remember that it's now only have one table. There are no star scheme or anything. Okay, so this is what it comes up with. Have a nice header and a logo up here. And it says what it's been doing. There are some filters where it uses event type ID, and there are also some user IDs. Then it tells us about one of the columns called duration open. That is how long time do we in average wait for the report to open, and in average that's 4 seconds or 4,170 milliseconds. And then we can see here it uses the hours. So it uses one of the columns that we prepared for it, and also do it per weekday. Let's say we want to change this a little bit. We think, okay, this is cool. Day of week, that's a little bit unclear what that is. Hour, I think maybe we can understand what that is. But day of week, what is Monday? Is Monday day 0 or day 1? We don't really know that. So let's say that we want to change this. That's quite easy because we can see over here what it has done. Has put in day of week. let's say I want to use day name instead. Then I can add it here. The problem with adding this, and now you can see it is sorted by the numeric field instead of the dimension. So we can sort access by day name. And then it would also maybe be nice to start with Monday, so we can do it ascending. So now we can see something here. Okay, seems to be maybe some problems around Sunday. Maybe there can be some system work or something. We don't know that, but it does give us some kind of an overview. But now I have actually changed what CoPilot suggested, and that is actually not so good, because the way it works is I can't go back now. I can't save this. Then I could anyway. That's nice. Okay, but it's possible to do stuff in here afterwards that does not allow you to save data. So let's say that we want to maybe add some more stuff here. We could say we could add this one, and we could put in average of duration render. So this is how long it takes to, for instance, change a page. Delete this one, and we make an average. And then see that's like a little bit more than a second. We go back to reading view, and we can press save, and that works smoothly as well. That's nice. Sometimes you are not allowed to change things, but then you can. What always works is you can export this to your desktop. So one way of using CoPilot would be to have maybe the first kind of the starter pages, and then you can work on this in the desktop later on. So we could go into reading view. I could go back to my workspace. Could actually create an app if we wanted to, but I think we will wait for that. Then we will go into the other report, the Adventure Works, because there are a little bit more stuff going on in here than just a log file. So again, I can find CoPilot here, but it can only look in the report that I've done. So if I click on it now, it will say there aren't any visuals on that page that I can use to summarize. Fair enough. So I go back to Edit and CoPilot. And this feature is only working in the service. You can't do it in the desktop. So again, I can suggest content for this report. And here you can see there's some more stuff going on. There are sales, there are calendar, there are customer, products, territory, and there are even quite a lot of measures in here as well. So let's see what happens if I suggest content. So if you recall in the log file, it were some other topics about activity peaks and so on. But here it recognizes there are some sales in here, so we can do a sales performance analysis. It also recognizes there are some customers, so it's possible to do something on the customer dimension. It recognizes there's a product dimension, so we can actually do some apparently some profitability breakdown, and that is based on some of the DAX measures that's done. And in the end, it also uses the fourth dimension, which is a territory, and it says it can do something about regional sales. So that's quite nice. I think we will try to use one of them and see what happens with product profitability breakdown. What's going on here? Guess that might take a little longer than before. So it's still working on it.
Lars, we have a question. Perhaps we can take it at the same time as it is working here.
Good
Johannes is asking, how good is it at creating measures?
Yes, I will come back to that when I dig into the desktop later on.
No?
Because the measures is done in the desktop. But
All
to
right,
answer your question, I think actually it's for simple measures, it's quite good actually. Much better than the old quick measure function. Okay, so while we were talking, it has built a page for us. Seems like for some reason it likes a gray theme here. Again, it seems also that it always put in a text with the name of the report. This is actually quite nice, and again the same logo. And the way it puts in sliders is with sliders without titles, but then it adds a text field with the title. That's quite good. Then I put in some KPI cards in the top. I think if you ask people that knows about dashboard design, they would think that's actually a quite good idea. So it doesn't look totally random what it has done. But then it has put in month and year. And this model, this AdventureWorks models only have, I think, 2016 and 17 data. So that's why it only goes to June 17. So it looks at the profit, it looks at the revenue, it looks at costs, and it also looks at the returns. Okay, does maybe kind of make sense. I would say this is not just a profitability analysis report. This is more like a report about, 4 different things: profit, revenue, costs, and returns. Then in here, it's done it by product. AdventureWorks is bicycles and stuff relating to that. So we can see what are the most profitable products, and also by revenue, by costs, and so on. And we can see that there seems to be some returns, quite a big difference between number of returns here. Okay, maybe we can try and say, okay, we use this page. Let's make another one. We did the profitability analysis. Let's do one on customer demographics overview. Do this. So that now we will build a second page. It's working on it. So if there are any more questions, it could be a good time to take those.
Yeah, Johannes was also wondering about the measures. If it's how inclined is it to create measures on its own without being prompted to do so?
It doesn't make anything on its own. You have to tell it quite specifically what it has to do but in natural language. But then I would also say that you need to check what it has done, because it could, be misunderstanding what you're doing. So it does. I would say the user needs to know some DAX to read the formula afterwards. Okay, now we got a new page. So this is about customer demographics. So there are some, I would say, quite useless cards in here where it counts the current age, it counts the genders. This is maybe an interesting one. I don't know. It counts the income level and the marital status as well. I guess you can be married and not married. I don't know, but not divorced. I don't know. We don't know that. But then there are some where it looks into the age of the customer. Now we have to remember that this case is it's a little old, so people are kind of old in this one. So the youngest are 37, but it does give you some a nice overview of that. And there's also been doing something on your income level. That's one of the great things about the AdventureWorks case, that you have a lot of data about your customers that I guess you wouldn't normally be allowed to have these days. Then we can see, okay, we have male, female, and non-applicable on genders, and yeah, can be married and single. It makes sense. Okay, let's go back to this one, and let's go back to reading view. We better save this. Then we can ask this CoPilot, and let's see what it does when we want a list of insights. So now it's going through this page, only this page, not the other page, and not anything else in the semantic model. Only what is in this page. So what it's doing here is it's came out with a list of some observations. So for instance, the total profits were the highest in June 17 at 771,000, which is 324% higher than in January 16. And we can click on this, and then it highlights where it found this insight. So that's actually, I guess, quite nice that you can easily see where it gets these insights. So instead of you yourself go through everything, you can just ask this about these insights. Let's try the other one. Summarize visuals on this page.
Perhaps we can take a question here from Tatiana. Are there specific industries or cases where the integration of Power BI and CoPilot shows more visible advantages? You say?
I think it comes to CoPilot in Power BI. There are no, I think, industry-specific advantages, but I think what we saw here is that it does interpret the data. So the suggestions it came up with for the log file were something completely different than from this normal sales model. But I think we are still in the very early years of this this product, and I would say what I noticed first that I think is something that could be improved is that it's, for instance, the date time column, that it can't see from that what month is it, what date is it. So you need to explicitly tell it everything, even though the data is there. And I also know that there is a CoPilot in generation 2 data flows, so it would actually be possible for it to change it in Power Query to create these extra columns but there are no kind of a connection between the different copilots so far. But I guess that is something that if I was Microsoft, that's something I would probably work on. Yeah. So this one, so the first one was a bulleted list of insights, and now we have a summarization of what is in the visuals. So this one is more like what is the most important things. So it says it is doing something on profit, which is the total profit for the business, the total revenue, and so on. In here, it's have a focus on the products. And
yeah, it's good that you read it because it's such a small text.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
do read it.
I will read it. So the first one here is the total profit for the business is 7.86 million. Total revenue is 18.5, with a total cost of 121,000, and then there's 1,720 returns. And again, what is nice is I can click on this, and then I can see, okay, it has just summarized what was on the cards. Okay, nice. Then on the next one, I can see here that the profit is 771,000, and that comes from this visual. And again, the other one, I can click on it, and it says something about the product, which has the highest profit. That was a Mountain 200 Black 46 inches, which is a frame. And the least profitable is another bike, which is only 4,000, $4,900, and yeah. So you can see there are way too many products for this. This is not really a visual that I would make because there are too many elements in this dimension. We can go further down and take this one, which is about revenue. When was the highest revenue? And when was and what product is it? So it's actually up here talking about the time dimension, and down here it goes down to tell us about what product is it in the product dimension. And then in the end, it tells us something about returns. December 2016 had the highest total returns with a figure of 163, and the product water bottle, which is this one, had most returns, 149. Okay, so this is more like a summarization of everything in here, while this one is more, let's say, a list form. But in a way, it is more or less some of the same things it is mentioning. That is also possible to do some natural language in here. So we could try now to ask about something, and we have to be aware what data is in this report. So now we have something about revenue and profitability and products and so on. So I can't ask anything about customers, but I can try to ask what are the 3 products with highest profitability. Let's see if it understands this. So it makes a list that gives us the 3 products which has the highest total profit. So that is more or less, I guess, what I asked it. Of course, if I had a measure calculating maybe the profitability in percentages, maybe it could also answer that. Again, I think natural language makes sense. This is also something that would be quite easy to see yourself. But we can also use natural language to design a report. So now I go back to the edit and I use this CoPilot. So I want create a page that shows. It's always good to start with this because otherwise it might just do another table for you in here about the insights. So if you start create a page that shows what customers are buying water bottles. Now I'm totally doing this on the fly, so I have no idea what will come up.
I have a question from Pontus here. Is CoPilot learning anything from your interactions with it?
I don't think so. What would be the answer? I think the only way you can enrich the experience is by being very good at naming your elements in your data model, and also enriching it. So you have kind of think about what it needs to do its job.
If
Yeah.
you're, for example, the product list last time that you
Yeah.
did, could you add some more and say, well, can you filter out that kind of customer, and it can use the last sequence? No. So you need to
if
write
you start
everything
over,
again.
Yeah. So it's not like if you used to maybe ChatGPT where you can kind of build on it. It doesn't do that so far. Okay, now I asked for a water bottle purchase page. So it says a water bottle purchase. Everything is good. Still shows me all products, all returns, but it doesn't really show me anything about customers. It's actually quite funny because I asked about create a page that shows what customers are buying water bottles. But this is maybe a little bit like ChatGPT. It doesn't really know the answer, but it tries to answer anyway. So I think the reason it can't do this is because in the data model there are no relation between the customer and the product. So it's a one-way directional relationship between the sales table and the dimensions. So it wouldn't know what customers are buying these bottles just by this model. Okay, so I will go back to reading view. Then we can say, yeah, Gustav?
Benjamin is asking if you could zoom in on like a few steps on the site. It should be noted also that you have the possibility to zoom in yourself in Teams where you have the plus sign. But if it's possible, I think.
Yeah. So, but what happens now is that I went back to reading, and when I go back here to edit, there are no history. So it doesn't remember what I asked it before. That's also something that is a little different than from what we're used to with Bing Chat and ChatGPT and so on. Because I'm signed in, and it's the same thing, but it doesn't store what I asked it about before. So actually I can't do that. And even I don't even know if I can zoom in on the CoPilot. Okay, what I will do now is I will download this file. Because we have a little time left to look at what we can do in the desktop.
I have a question when we're waiting here. You said that like the coloring here, it became gray. I mean, you have done this demo just trying it out. Has it chosen different colors last time, or is it keen on gray?
No, it doesn't have to be gray. I think if you noticed in the log file, it was not gray. There was some blue theme.
So it's a randomizer here.
Yeah,
what the
I don't
CoPilot
know.
feels like.
It feels. Wow, you're talking about the profitability. That sounds boring. I painted gray. I don't know.
Okay, so it's your you chose the coloring.
I didn't choose the coloring.
Okay.
It's doing it. Yeah. Okay. This guy changes. Yeah. Okay. So now I have the report. I can work on this. I can also see maybe I want to enhance this with some new DAX measures. So I go into, maybe some of you are familiar with this, the old button called Quick Measure. So this has actually now had another feature called Suggestions with CoPilot. And the good thing about this, besides that it actually works quite well, is that it's free. Just need to enable it in your preview feature in settings.
Are you showing the desktop now, Lars?
Yes, I'm
because
showing
we
desktop.
only see the web the Power
that's
BI
not so
app
good.
still.
That's not so good.
I think you need to.
I thought I was
reshare.
actually sharing my screen, but apparently not. Yeah.
Now I think it's correct.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, I have downloaded the report. It's in these gray colors. What I showed before was that I have this quick measure button that some of you may know from before, and it had, in my and many others' opinion, the original feature isn't really that good. There's a limited number of things you can do, and the DAX is I think is very overcomplicated things. So now you have suggestions with CoPilot, and you need to add it in your preview features in the settings. So now I can actually use natural language, as it says, to describe the measure you need. Like total sales for Canada this year. It also says here, somewhere it says that you need to be careful. But let's see what we can do here. We could a common thing could be accumulated sales per month, maybe. Let's see what it does. It was not able to do anything with that. Let's see, what have we called things in here? We have quantity, we have profit, we have revenue. There aren't anything called sales. So maybe we should call it revenue instead. Actually called total revenue. Let's see if that's better. Okay, so now it comes up with something. It says here, suggested measure. I think it's important to be aware that it's a suggested measure. But it's a good starting point. So what it does is it does an average x, an iterator function per month. So I guess I would probably not go this way, but let's see what it looks like. If we click on add, then it will add this measure. I have to name it myself because it's just called measure. Accumulated total revenue test, I think I will call it in this case. So since it is actually doing something on months, we could try to put it in table maybe, and then we can take the months in here and see what's it doing. It doesn't really look accumulated to me. Let's try another suggestion. So this could be what we have. We have total cost. Then we could have like total, a more traditional one, total cost, same period last. Yeah. So this is actually something that I probably would have done myself with the same period last year function in the calculate. Costs, same period last year. I can use that.
But the quick measure is only available in the desktop. It's not on when you're.
No,
correct?
That's just in desktop. And it's free to use, while the other you need to have this capacity. The last thing I will actually show is there's a DAX measure explanation feature, and that is actually for some reason I was a little surprised by that. You need the capacity to use it, because I was thinking when it happens in the desktop, it's something that is handled by a desktop, but it must be so that it sends up this to the service somehow. So what's going on is, let's say I have a measure here. This is just a division. Let's just take something more complex. If there anything in here that is just a little bit complex, we can take this one, high ticket orders. So what this is doing is that it takes out all products where the price is larger than the average price. So that's the expensive products. So there's in this model view, there's a lot of properties, and actually this is like one of the more exciting areas I think in Power BI, because it's giving you a lot of stuff you can do in here. But now you can also get a CoPilot description. So I will press the create with CoPilot preview. And it says here, before it says what was there before, it was none. And then it says high ticket orders measure calculates the total number of orders where the product price is greater than the overall average price. This measure helps identify high value orders. And I would say actually this is quite good. And I've been playing a little bit around with this, and I think this feature is probably what works best. With DAX, I have had some good and bad experiences, but I think this interpretation of the DAX formulas has so far worked very well, and I think the language used is also very good. I think especially if you look at this, the last term here, this measure helps identify high value orders. This is a kind of, you could say, almost like clever thinking. So I think this is quite valuable, but it does need the F64 capacity. Yeah. that is, I think, if you look at the time, what I can do today. I have been through the most of the stuff in
Do we have any
in the
questions?
CoPilot.
I actually had one before.
Yeah.
So you have like these, it's like two different types of CoPilot. One for users that are like consuming a report, and then you have CoPilot for creators
Yeah.
of
Yes.
reports.
Yes.
Where do you think where you can save most time or most where do you see it the most valuable at
I
the
think,
moment, I guess?
yeah, at the present state, I think the cost, the user insight is what we will spending the most of the time on. How to, get insights from an existing page, and also building a report page. You could say when the user can build a report page so easily by itself, it should be of great use. But I also think that right now it's with the examples I showed, I don't think it's that useful so far. I think if you look at the adventure works, I don't think it got a lot of usage out of that one compared to it was a big data model. But on the other hand, for the log file, I actually think that you were able to do something quick without knowing anything about Power BI, just by saying I want something about the peak peak events or whatever it was. On the other hand, I think from a developing perspective, I think I myself like to code DAX, but I think if I were not so good at DAX, I would probably use this new feature, which is free, quite a lot, and it would also help me learn DAX. You could say the same about ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is not living inside your data model. So the nice thing about this is that it actually uses the right tables and columns and so on. So it's easy to implement. I think the best feature is actually the one with documenting your DAX measures. I think that's quite good, because we all know that we have been building models and suddenly we have like 1,000 measures and we didn't really document it. So it's I think actually a great tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to press every measure. You can't say document
Yeah.
all
No,
measures. You
to
need
be honest,
to.
I haven't tried, but I read that you can't. So I believe in that. But I think that's something that it will change, because I remember in the beginning with formatting measures you had to do it one by a time, but now you can do it by bulk in the data model view as well. So I think it's something that they will come up with. This is still the first version, so I think there's a lot of to hope for. Yeah, but I guess for everything in here you still need to. It's not a free lunch. You have to still check what it's doing. So it needs some knowledge and intelligence to do that. Yeah. Any more questions?
No, I think we haven't seen any questions coming in here, so I think we're done. And
Cool.
so great
Yeah.
work.
Thanks for everybody
Great
who
work,
was
Lars.
hanging on all the way. Hope it was useful.